Woman in a very beautiful mansion. The mansion can be well equipped with all the gadgets, well decorated, kitchen well equipped, But at the end of the day, that woman also still goes to bed, feeling lonely, uh, uncertain and anxious in spite of everything around her. And people might ask, God, this woman is unappreciative with all these things around her. Do you understand the house she stays, the kind of cars she drives, and everything? What does a woman want again from a man? From the outside, they see her as someone that is ungrateful if she complains.
Okay.
But a woman that knows the seat that she's on can be mentally, emotionally drained in a marriage without the outsiders even knowing. So they assume, because there's finance, there's riches and everything around her, though she's comfortable, so she shouldn't complain. But no, but this woman goes to sleep lonely. She's emotionally, mentally, psychologically drained in that marriage. But people see her as, she's wealthy, she's rich. So we must know, because there's this saying, there's this belief that, look, all a woman needs is finance. But this is wrong. Yes, women are built as receivers. That's how their nature, they're built biologically, by nature, by creation. Okay. Women were built as receiver. Our desire shall be from our men. So we are built to collect. You understand? It is just normal to collect. You understand? Okay. Because of our nature. But is this all it takes for a woman to be happy in a marriage? Is it money alone? Let me tell you, let me shock you to all the young girls that are planning to get married and they feel, wealth. It's all about wealth and everything. It's better to even cry in a Lamborghini than to laugh in a keke. Right. People that are in the Lamborghini now, private jets, that was once in private jets, that was encouraging younger women to go out, marry their father's age. Right now, they came out from the Lamborghini, they came out from the G-Wagon, they came out from the private jets that was taking them all around the world. Now they want to enter keke, to smile with that man, that have regard and respect for them. They are not emotionally drained. They are happy psychologically and mentally. So sometimes we must know that it's not about money, wealth alone that makes a woman happy. Okay. So we want to ask, what are the 4 things that will make a woman be happy in her home? The 4 things that a woman wants from her husband. The number 1 thing is spiritual security. Okay. Spiritual security. Spiritual leadership. And that is everything. That is everything. In fact, I cannot emphasize more on this, because in an organization, once you can have the best of staff, you can have the best talents and ideas, but if there's no direction from the leader, what happens? That organization will become chaotic. And it will fall with time because there's no direction. So that's what a man is to a home. Every woman needs that spiritual direction, because you are the head of the woman. The scripture says, look, for the head of every man is Christ, but the head of a woman, it is the man. From the very beginning, when the sentence of death was passed upon men, when they violated the just law in the Garden of Eden, what did the Bible say? It said to the woman, a sentence will be passed on to you, because it was not Adam that was deceived, it was you, Eve, that was deceived. Henceforth, your desire shall be from your husband, and he shall rule over you. So a man automatically becomes a spiritual head of that man that gives the guideline and the direction. So when a woman does not have a good direction and guideline, what happens to the woman and the children? So sometimes it's all about the men. The men call it the women. But sometimes let's talk about the men. You are the spiritual head. It's not just a title. It is a responsibility that you're going to be accountable for. It is not just a title, but a crown. So most men that we have, most husbands that we have right now, it's so sad that some of them are just carrying the title, but not the crown. Okay. There's responsibility attached to it. You need to guide your wife, influence her to a God, to the children. So you cannot do that you can also do that by living the life that you want your children to be and your wife to be. Because it's not enough, to say, I demand a good behavior for my wife and for my children. But what about you? You give correction to everybody, but you cannot correct yourself as a spiritual head. Yeah. So a woman wants that man that can influence them spiritually. A man that will not also go and pray with your children, but they can also see him praying. They can also see him leading the team. Do you understand? As a spiritual head. That sometimes on Wednesday in the midweek service, my husband will pull a call and ask, how far are the children ready? Are you ready, Harriet? It's 4 o'clock. You're getting late. Go. That is the spiritual head, trying to make sure that the values and the moral codes and the value, standard of value that was passed on to him is also passed on to the wife and the children, because he knows he's carrying a crown that is going to be accountable for tomorrow. Okay. Because God is going to ask this man. Forget it. They are the spiritual head.
All right.
You're going to ask them. The children and the wife again to you. What did you do? Some of our girls are naked in the street right now because these men do not also pay attention. You don't leave the responsibility of the children for the wife alone. A woman was complaining that the man doesn't even know the school fees of the children. She goes to pay the school fees. She does everything for the children. The assignment, nothing. The man just comes and brings money. But these children also want to feel your presence. That is why God did it, a man and a woman. A man has a special role that he plays in the life of these children. Also with the women. But the women can never play the role. That's why I say, when you're a single mom, I tell you, look, you don't even know what you're also doing to yourself. Because there's a role the father will play that you cannot play, even if you have all the words in the world. There's a symbol, there's this thing that a man plays in the life of a child that you cannot play. So no matter the situation between you and your husband, allow that man, if you're not together again, but allow your husband to see his children. Because there's a role, a unique role that God has given to them to play. So if they don't play that role, when the children grow up, it affects them in their romantic relationship. So it's very important that we know that. That men knows that they're spiritual head. That these women you see getting naked on the street, the wife, maybe the wife has spoken or they have not spoken. But if you have a man, a spiritual head that directs and say, look, this cloth, you're not wearing it out today. Right. Because he pays attention to the children, not leaving every responsibility to the woman alone. You are not wearing these clothes. You cannot sag as a man. Your busters is showing, it shows irresponsibility. You cannot do dreadlock. Now, recently I saw my son was trying to twist his hair, kind of, it's not here, but kind of twist. I just saw it a bit, just a little. I said, no, you will not curl your hair, even though if you're not in this environment, it shows irresponsibility. So go and bring that hair down. And it did. That is a parent that is sensitive. Okay. So leadership, it is very, very important. So spiritual leadership. So let's move to number 2.
All right.
The physical security. Every woman needs a man that can give them the physical security. It's not about just being around a man, but is your wife physically safe with you? There's some men as they're coming home, their children and their wife, they will enter under the bed. They are so scared. The men are so rigid. The wife feel they cannot express their emotions freely because they will be shut down. There's no decision taken in the house that you involve your wife because you feel, that leadership is all about dictatorship. No. A wise man and a wise man knows that the wife is part of him. There's some huge financial decisions that your wife must be part of it.
Okay.
Do you understand? A wise man knows that, look, I cannot flip my head without my neck. Your wife is your neck. And you are the head. Even the vice president, even the president, sometimes he wants to consult his cabinet members, his vice presidents, before taking decisions. So a woman wants to feel that man that has that physical, make them feel secured in their home. A woman wants to feel that a man pays attention to them. I'm telling men, look, one of the most sophisticated weapons that can break a woman's defense is when a man gives the wife attention. As respect is, sex is, and food is to a man, so also attention is to a woman. A woman is not asking for too much. It takes you to understand them. The Bible says, dwell with them with understanding. They are weaker vessels, so they might not be asking for too much, but a little attention, appreciating them. My wife, well done. You have done this. You have done school runs. You have done the assignment. The house is calm. It's cold. The children are sleeping when they ought to sleep. My wife, come. A pat at the back. Thank you. That is all a woman needs from you. That is all. But to find out that these men feel, it is their responsibility. Let them die in it. I don't care. But that is wrong. A woman needs a man that, look, even if you don't give me anything, appreciate me. Well done. Even God Almighty said, look, if I have done something for you, appreciate me. Not to talk of a woman. We are weaker vessels. We are under the man. Sometimes we can be overwhelmed with these duties, domestic duties. So a good man comes in and says, look, that gives you that physical security, comes in. My wife, thank you. Well done. A woman wants to feel that the man does not abuse her physically. Do you understand? There's some men that will abuse their wife physically to the point of death. But my problem with women is sometimes you give your body to a man to abuse physically, you can die out of it. I've seen women who go to meet the man and beat me. Come and beat me now to see what you can do. I see what you can do. You are daring a man. You dare a man. So it is wrong. But under no condition shall a man that is well raised raise the hand on the wife, no matter how tempted it could be. So we must take this physical security. Everybody wants it. Every woman loves it. Every woman wants to feel your presence around them. You can be physically present with them and emotionally you are absent. So it's a two different thing. So physical security, a woman needs it. So let's move to number 3.
All right.
The third one is emotional security. Emotional security. And this is actually lacking in most homes. A man is physically present with a wife. The wife sees you every day. But emotionally, is absent completely. A wife wants to see a man validate her, make her feel special. That's one thing that men are lacking. You see your wife well dressed, beautiful, steps out.
Yeah.
What's something to say? Oh, my wife, this is beautiful. I love your hair. You changed your hair. Oh no, you're not looking too well today. Your facial expression has changed. Is there anything wrong with you? Are you okay? Do you understand? No, he wants you. You know that validates her emotions, make her feel special. If she does her hair, she looks good for you. Appreciate her. Make her feel special, because women have actually exposed their emotional atmosphere because their husbands never told them, so other men capitalized on it and used it against them. And women that are put out from their husbands as we speak, they are regretting it. And when they come and they tell you, look, this man deceived me because he made me feel special. I've been married for this man for 25 years. Never a day have I heard from my husband that, look, your hair is fine. You look good. You're beautiful. Thank you, my wife, for keeping yourself clean. The children and everything. But as soon as another man came in, a woman who is not in a divine purpose, who does not understand, he thinks, oh, this man is sweeping me up my feet. My husband never did this. And at the end of the day, they pull out from your marriage and they come back regretting what happened. Validate your wife's beauty. Make them feel special. They do not need an external validation. They do not need to tamper to the space, the emotional space. Don't allow invaders to invade the emotional space of your wife by not doing your duty. Make them feel special all the time. A woman wants to be emotionally safe with you by telling her how beautiful it is. And another thing that a woman feels when she's emotionally safe is when you do not humiliate her in the presence of your family members, or to your siblings, or to your siblings, or to your people, or to your mothers. There's sometimes in a home, maybe you have the husband's family members staying with this woman, and there's an issue and everything. They come, they complain to you, the wife tells you how she feels about this whole thing. It's not left for you as a man. You've not had the other side of the story, I know. But for you to call everybody and humiliate your wife in presence of your siblings, it is wrong. A woman does not feel safe with you emotionally because you just brought her down. Even if she has done something wrong and you need to correct her, you can go to the room and say, every sort of thing you want to say to her. But in presence of your family members, our family members, do not treat your wife as a trash can. Because if you tell people that you have no value for your wife, they will treat her as a trash can. So it's as simple as that. So let's move to the last one right now, which is the financial security.
Women like money. Indeed, okay.
So I'm sure you just said women like money.
Yes.
But
like
I bet to differ. I bet to differ in this case right now. Yes,
right.
We are built as receivers. We collect, from our nation and everything, we collect. Yeah. Do you understand? The Bible says money is a defense. You want to do this, you want to do this, you need money. Money is a defense, actually, but wisdom giveth life to those who have it. So money is involved. But right now, I beg to differ. A woman is not just looking for a wealthy man, a man that's so rich that has everything that it takes to give her that financial security. It could just be a small life, a comfortable life, but make her feel involved in the finances, in the running of the day-to-day activities, when it has to do with money and everything. She feels safe with you. There's some men that are very reckless with money. As soon as they have that first salary, they pay them that salary, they will go outside from club to club until they exhaust that money and they come in like a child. Behave like a child to the woman because there's no money anymore. So a woman cannot be financially safe with you because he knows each time they pay you salary, you go, you use it, you go to use it, carry women from pillar to post. So a woman can never be comfortable with you financially. So sometimes it's not about finance that, hey, woman, money. No, they want to feel financially secure with you. So sometimes when you spend and you don't let them know, they feel, oh no, are my children secure? Am I secure as well? So men, that's why I tell men, look, there's something called financial infidelity. when you do not bring your wife into the picture.
Okay.
It is true that some women have abused it, really abused it. But I tell men, if you have not tried your wife, then you don't have any reason to say all women, they abuse the opportunity when you give them. Yes, try her and see. If you try her and she abused it, then you have an excuse to give. Today, as we speak, many men, many bank managers are with dead men's money that your wife cannot even claim. The wife knew nothing about it. A colleague was telling me how the husband died and his phone was locked. They could not even access anything. No, the wife does not know the PIN, nothing. Even his phone, they cannot get access to his phone. That is how bad, marriage has become individualism. It has become contract when individuals are seeking for their personal interest. It's not about collaboration. It's not about partnership anymore. It's not about teamwork. Do you understand? So a woman wants a man who makes her feel financially secured. It might not be just the wealth alone, the money, but how do you spend it? I want to be involved. But it's a pity that some of these men that we have right now, they have dropped everything. That spiritual leadership that God has given to them from the very onset. They are bringing it down. And we are looking up to you. You ought to give us the direction to go to. That's why I see men, if you are dating a woman who does not give you that respect as an head, even when you are cutting her, if you get married to that woman, she's not also going to respect you. That's what we are seeing right now. Men marry because of beauty. Women marry most times because of money. So at the end of the day, when you marry because of beauty, even when the woman has offended you, you go back to apologize to the woman when you're cutting her. But for crying out loud, marriage didn't go wrong. It started wrongly. When you bring that woman home, she will not also respect you. That is why you see men cannot cage some women as we speak right now. Because they started at a very wrong platform. So right now you cannot correct them. Men, they've also removed their crown. Why? Because they believe in side chicken or side fowl. Do you understand? You can lose your crown with that. You don't know what it means.
Right.
I don't know where they got this impression from that men are polygamous in nature. But I tell you, a man can stick to one woman. Mm-hmm. It's very possible to stick to one woman. Create that value, that moral codes, that life you want your children to live tomorrow. You will begin to live it in the house because you cannot go out, carry women with your money, get drunk and come into the house about 2 a.m., knock the door, slap your wife because she didn't open the door for you on time. Okay. Your children are watching you. They're also going to grow. They are going to mother you as well. Right. So it's very important.
All right, before we open the phone lines, let's break down each of the 4 subtopics you've touched. Spiritual leadership. We're looking at the aspect of the man, the angle of the man.
Yes.
When the man doesn't have these things, you're going to touch each one.
Yeah.
How do you go about learning or acquiring spiritual leadership? How do you go about learning or acquiring how to make yourself a safe space for your wife and your children? How do you learn how to be emotional security is still safe space, even financial security? How can we get the men to learn these things? Because there's this famous saying, you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how is it a God thing? What's going to happen?
Yeah, some people grew up and they never knew anything called spiritual leadership because the father never showed them. They never took that responsibility and accountability.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So they grow up even into their romantic relationship without even knowing what it is. They just get married and that's all, And a woman who was well brought up in a secured home, who understands what spiritual leadership is, because he saw the father playing the role, be accountable and responsible for everything that has to do with the home, gets married to a man that was not well raised in that direction. What happens to her? She's expecting you to influence her, to get her and her kids close to God. But rather, you are turning the other way around. So what do? You've heard my voice. You go to seminars. These things are not right. Visit the counselors. So you understand? You learn. Behaviors are learned. They can be unlearned and relearned. So you learn. Do you understand? You learn. It's very possible you learn. A spiritual head. You're not just a spiritual head like it's just a title. It is a crown. There's a responsibility attached to it. You are going to give the direction for your wife and children to follow. So if there's no direction, what happens? What happens?
But do you think the woman can play a role if she notices? Because some men don't know and they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't even know they don't know.
Yeah.
Or they don't have it. How can the wife then, respectfully of course, or lovingly, let him know, you don't have this and this is what you need? How can she do
Yes,
that?
the wife can play a major role. I've seen women. I'm a counselor, so I hear so many things on a daily basis. I've seen women that were raised from a secured home who are very spiritually, they have the spiritual insight.
All
They know
right.
where they're coming from. They know their children cannot afford to lose that moral codes and standard of value that they came from. So what they do is like respectfully bring the man into the picture. In the evening, the man does not pray, he doesn't know how to pray. But the woman initiates the man and give the man the Bible and say, look, we are going to be taking this chapter today. Your children demands you to say this to them. Say, please, they need you. Respectfully bring them into the picture. Don't make them feel inadequate. They are not enough. No, with a calm voice, make them feel special. Before that evening devotion, you must have given the man the verse that he is going to read to the children. The prayer lines and every other thing. It makes the man feel wanted. The children knows that, oh, their father, yes, their father is leading, but you don't rubbish it before their father. Like, you are not serious. God is going to punish you the way no, you pull him away further. But the goal, like my mother said, look, among my children, these 10 children that I have, the best gift you can give to me is I want to see all my children in the kingdom of God. Don't buy me cars, don't buy me anything, I don't care. But everybody should be under the umbrella of God. That's what more important to my mom. So as a wife, what is more important to you is not for your husband to go astray. At the end of the day, when everybody's gathering with your children, your husband is not there. What will you gain? What will be your benefit? Everybody will be under the umbrella of God. So you can initiate it as a wife.
All right. So what about physical security? Especially, you talked about maybe the man being a scary person or a toxic person, and the wife and the kids just want to, avoid him. How do you solve that? Because a lot of Nigerian homes are actually like that. You just hear your husband's horn, your heart is beating, the children have run into the room. So how do you come back from that?
So I tell wife, silence does not solve any problem.
Okay.
Then I'm muted, I'm silent, I'm trying to keep it to myself, I go back to my shell, you give a silent treatment, you don't talk in the house anymore. It does not change anything about the man. It does not solve the problem, because silence does not solve problem. But what I'm teaching women under my umbrella, the Proverbs 31 women, I have so many women under me right now, under my tutelage, and God has been helping me. It's been transforming, because these women go home and like their marriage of 15, 20 years, that they've never sat one day to gist with their husbands, they are beginning to flow with their husbands. What did I teach them? There are times a man comes so hot, you are very calm. Be calm. Your manners of approach matters. You want to lay a complaint. There's something you don't like. There's something that hurts you. But your presentation skills, that's what I'm teaching the women. There are times the men will come very harsh words. Sometimes you feel less than a human. They make you feel less than human. But did you give evil for evil, remedy for remedy? No, you use a calm voice. Just be separate. Some conversation, you don't need to even retaliate. You allow them be when they speak. But when they see they cannot predict you anymore, they begin to reason. This woman, they speak back at me. What is going on? They come back to you. They're restless because they know normally you will hit them on the normal circumstances, and it makes them go out and further away from you and creates that emotional distance between you and them. But when you are not responding in that direction, you see the men pulling back to you. It is just a small secret that can be done. These men are sometimes like your 2-year-old child. You don't know. Forget this masculinity. Once you can catch them, you know their trick. You will cage them. You will keep them in one place.
All right. So talk to us about emotional security, financial security. How do we get the men to get you? I agree with you on learning, but how can you help him? And especially, you said some men are teachable, some men are unteachable.
No, of course, absolutely.
Let this one.
That financial infidelity is a case almost in every home. That's why I tell women, look, discuss this before marriage.
Okay.
It is very important, because when you get into the marriage, a man who have learned this attachment style, who has been raised in this way, that the father never shared anything with the wife concerning finance, because they believe that the wife will kill the man and take the property. How do you change a man overnight? Women don't change men don't change women, but it's only God that can change instantaneously. Do you understand? So I tell women, discuss these things before the men. Know who you are getting married to. 80% of the success in marriage has to do with who you are getting married to. It's very important. Who are you married to? There's some things, not just about sleeping with a man because you're courting this man, you do all sorts of nonsense. Leaving the most important things that you will need to know, you need to look out for. Who is this man? Is he a 20-80 man? Is he a 50-50 man? Maybe in your life, you've never brought 1 naira, your mother never brought 1 naira. So you get married to this man who said, no, it's split, 50-50. What will happen to you? It's going to be an issue. So financial insecurity, infidelity starts even from the home, where your husband is coming from. There's somewhere, there's an habit. He learned it from somewhere. So for you to come and change it overnight, it takes the grace of God. So these things must be discussed. But we as counselor, we're also helping. Come to us. We also make your husband understand that financial infidelity is risky because nobody knows who goes first. With everything you've planned, you've worked hard for. One day, a bank manager comes to take everything away from you. Your wife and children will suffer. They will beg for bread. Meanwhile, you had everything when you were alive. So this is important.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, a closed mouth is a closed destiny. Mrs. Harriet Ojemba in the building to answer 4 things every woman needs from her husband. Let's just put it in that way. Women, you can call in. Husbands, do you have any questions? Do you even feel convicted? And if you're convicted and you'd want to learn, you can call in. Here are the numbers: 0810-9510-951. That's 0810-9510-951. For text messages, WhatsApp messages, and voice notes, 0701-9339-962, 0701-9339-962. You can be part of the show social media wise. YouTube live today 951 FM. That's for YouTube today 951 FM. Facebook today 95.1 FM. Instagram, X, Twitch all have the same handle, today FM 951. Now you can also be part of the show via the website www.todayfmlive.com. That's www.todayfmlive.com. Listen live in the middle of your screen. You're part of the show. Now, tune in, Radio Garden. Those are apps you can get off of the Google Play Store or Apple. Download and search Today 95.1 FM, and that's all there is to it. All right, so while we wait for calls, we've gone towards the angle of the woman helping the man, because we all know that you can't give what you don't have.
Of course, absolutely.
What about, you said for financial security, you said talk about these things before marriage.
Before marriage is very important, yeah.
I know that a lot of men and women pretend. So since we're looking at the woman's angle, what if it's a man who pretends? Because some men will tell you, like politicians, oh, I'll build air conditioner on the street. So when you talk about, oh yes, I'm that kind of person, oh, I do this and do that. How do you get around pretense then?
Pretense. I tell women, look, a man cannot 100%, pretend, even the women too. Okay. You must see some traces, by his action. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. A man can tell you that, today, 2 o'clock, I will come to your house. 2 o'clock, you wouldn't see the man. Okay. The next day, he twists you and like, don't worry, I was so busy, I could not call you. He repeats the same thing. Don't take him by his words, take him by his action. So that sometimes we just sit and look at these men, the actions, you compare, you want to bring their words to the action as against the action. Okay. If they say B, do they really represent B? So there's no way a man can 100% pretend and lie to you. One way in conversation, one way or the other, it will show.
All right, let's take this call. 95.1, welcome to the show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Don. Where Wilson.
All right, good morning, Music Emperor. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you very much. I love this conversation so much. I love this conversation. I just wanted to explain something. So I asked Don, and see how can the man figure out pretense, right?
All right, yeah, pretense, yeah.
Yes. So after what Mrs. Harriet is saying, so me, these things with time, when someone is pretending, you understand, and how to even get those signs, how to know, how to see the signs, and how to figure out is at some point in the relationship, before getting to a relationship, I believe in, seeing somebody casual for a while. Seeing somebody casual for a while, makes you, it's more like familiarity, getting familiar with this person, but it's not really so. taking it, if this person takes it casual and you take this person casual for a while, before even the stage of relationship to courtship, you must have gone far already, this person. And ahead, you would know who this person is, and this person would know who you really are.
All right.
At the long run. You understand? That's just what I've got. I don't know what Mrs. Harris got to say about that.
All right, that's an interesting perspective. Thank you for calling Music Emperor.
Yes, that's why you don't.
The casual roots.
The casual rules, yeah, it's a rule because once you.
We have another call. Just
Okay, then.
hold that question. Casual roots. 95.1. Welcome to the show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Jensen.
Turn down the volume on your radio set, please.
Yes, I want to ask.
All right, go ahead.
In a situation where a lady sees a man, this man doesn't have money, and he proposes to marry him. The lady accepts. While they are together, this man doesn't have money. This is how he saw the man, that the man doesn't have money. But later, this money will still be important in the house. What caused it? Because this is the man you see, you say you love him, you like him, everything about him. And the man was not with money. There was no money. We were managing together. Why is it that later on money will be a problem? That this man don't have money, so I want to leave. And he saw him like that before he came. Thank you, dear.
Okay. All right. So, Madam Harriet, we have 2 questions on the table, and I think it's a text message. So, casual roots, and then no money before the relationship. Inside of the relationship, no money. Now it's a problem.
Okay, so the casual rules. Once you are emotionally involved, right, you become biased in your decisions. Do you understand?
Okay.
Once you're emotionally attached to any relationship, do you understand? You've poured in, and sometimes they won't go as far as sleeping with each other and everything.
Okay.
There is no way. Your judgment can never be right. Do you understand? You'll be clouded because there's emotions, in it already. Do you understand? So that's why the casual rules follows. Do you understand?
Yes.
Don't get committed to a man when you're not so sure. Because if you do before then, there's some characters, red flags you will see and you overlook. And when you get married, it becomes an issue. Because some people are getting, they think marriage is like a supermarket that you go in and come out. No, it's not for shopping. It's a lifetime thing. So you have to be very careful. So that casual route is the first thing you do. Go casually, discuss casually. Don't get emotionally involved. Because if you do, you become biased.
All right.
Yeah.
So the fellow who just called in, the last caller, who said before this time the person didn't have money, it wasn't an issue. They are now in a relationship. There's still no money. Now it's an issue.
Okay, that's what I meant. Don't be naive about this. Don't let a woman fool you into getting married to them when you do not have the finance to take care of